Hi guys. Today you're going to learn how to make a maze. It's not really hard to do. It's actually pretty easy. It's pretty fun. For our practice, it's going to be a really easy creation. And so just need to learn the basics right now, and then when it's time to make your own real maze, you're going to be learning how to put a lot of different things together to make a creative game for your user. But today you're going to understand that really all a maze is a button, and the button, when you roll onto it or over it, it's going to bring the user into the next frame or scene, letting the user either know that he won or lost. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and first start with a rectangle, and let's keyframe the first frame and drag out a rectangle. I usually just stop right there, and then I select it, and I come down into the properties and type in 550 for the width and 400 for the height, and hit enter for both numbers. Sorry for that. And you see that these are the same numbers for the stage size, and so it's going to fit perfectly onto the stage, but we want to make sure the x-axis is 0 and the y-axis is also 0, and there you go. It's perfect size, totally lines up, and I'm going to show frame. There we go. Now the next thing I do is I take my eraser tool, and at the bottom of the toolbar I just made it a double column. You have your default single column, but in the double column you can see it readily as I point to it here. All the way down is the square sample. I usually use the largest one, and this is going to allow me to cut through my little red shape here, or actually my large red shape, to create my maze paths. So I'm going to hold down Shift. Shift allows you to make straight lines, and again, this is just our practice, so we're not going to make anything special. So I want to start on the outside here to the left, or you can go from the right to the left, it's up to you, but I start from the left and I have a way out to the right side, and then you just create these little false paths that go nowhere, and just to make it confusing for your user, and that's about it. Oops, I accidentally better fill that in. I'm just filling that in with red. You don't want to do that. You don't want to give your user two options. Okay, now once you've created your path, you're going to want to select everything. So simply do Control A to select all, and then hit F8 and call your symbol maze. Remember, F8 is the convert to symbol dialog box. Make sure you are choosing button and say OK. And I've already made a maze, as you can see, so I'm going to go ahead and call this maze 2 and say OK. And there's my maze 2. Okay, now we're going to put some code on maze 2. So I'm going to select the maze, not the frame, the maze. Make sure you select the button, hit F9. Make sure it says Actions Button up on the tab here. And we're going to go ahead and say on, open parentheses, choose rollover. This is going to be a rollover. As soon as the mouse touches the maze, it's going to bring the user to another frame. We're going to do open curly bracket, hit return. We're going to tell the program to go to frame 2. So we're going to go to and capital A, play, capital P. We're going to go to frame 2, close the parentheses, semicolon, and right curly bracket, or close curly bracket. Check your syntax, says OK, hit F9 to close it. And now, there's no point in me testing the movie right now because I need to create something in frame 2. I'm going to simply hit F5, actually F6, and then I'm going to hit delete. And we delete the maze in frame 2 because we don't want to show the maze in frame 2. What we want to do in frame 2 is tell the user that they failed. So something to that effect: you lost, you failed, with an exclamation point. And so with that, I just went ahead and chose a color, font size, make sure it's large enough so the user can see it. And now we have something telling the user what he or she has done. Okay? Now, what we want to do is go into each frame and put stop script on both. Okay? Action script telling the movie to stop, because what we don't want to do is have the movie play until we give it some specific commands. Otherwise, the movie will just play. It'll play frame 1 and 2 over and over and over again. Okay, so frame 2, let's go ahead and put the stop script again, and semicolon. And let's go ahead and play our movie. Now, if you saw that, it flashed directly to the second frame because my cursor accidentally touched the button. Okay, that large red maze, which is a button. And so that's good. It actually worked, but we need to be careful, so I'm going to try that again. So make sure your cursor comes out, and then actually try to make it through. So I'll just try the first time, and sure enough, I made it. But now let's purposely lose. There you go. Alright, now what we want to do is create a button somewhere in this upper region, because if you remember, frame 1, this is where we enter. Now I'm going to go ahead and erase just a little bit more onto that button, but I can't do it until I actually open up the button and edit it this way. Can't edit it until you double click inside that symbol. Okay, so that looks like a good enough space, and I'm doing that so that I can create a button that allows that user to come back without actually hovering above the wall of that maze. So I'm going to go ahead and go into frame 1 and drag out my guideline. The guideline's going to tell me where I can put that button. So I'm going to put a button right here, but on the second frame. And so I'm going to take a green color and drag it out here on frame 2. Okay, I'm going to select the green button, or the green box, it's still an object, and do F8. I'm going to create a symbol for it. F8, and I'm going to call it try again. Again, make sure it's a button. I say OK. Okay, now I'm going to double click that button, and this time I'm going to do F6, and I'm going to give it some an overstate by just clicking a different color. I'm going to hit F6 again. I'm not going to change the downstate, and then I'm going to hit F6 one more time. Now, the hit state is basically a target, and we haven't discussed this yet, but the target is the amount of area that you allow the user to have within that button shape. And normally it's just going to be the size of the button, but we don't want it too big where the user would accidentally, you know, when he clicks that button, it brings him back to frame 1, and that button gets in the way of the maze. So here's what I mean. So I'm going to go ahead and put action script on the button, F9, and what do I want that button to do? I want the user to press the button. So on press, close, and open curly bracket, and then I want him the user go to and stop. It could be either stop or play. Frame 1, so it's going back to the frame, the beginning of the maze, and then close curly bracket. Okay, check the script, looks good. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play my movie, and I'm going to purposely fail, and I'm going to go back and click on it. Now, you see where my cursor ends up. Do it again. Now, it turns out it's okay, so I don't really need to change that hit state, but it's a good idea that you create that guideline so you know where you are. But now I'm going to go ahead and go back into that edit mode, go to that hit state, and I'm going to take my free transform tool and just make it a little bit smaller. And so that's the hit state. That's actually the target. Okay? This movie's going a little bit long. I'm at about 11 minutes right now, so I hope you guys aren't sleeping yet. Okay, I'm going to go back to scene 1. And again, I've got action script on this button. I'll just, as a review, on press, go to and stop at frame 1. And then frame 1, go into the movie. I'm sorry, go into the button, which is our actual maze. And on rollover, it's going to bring us to frame 2. Okay, let's test that again. Okay, looks good. I'm going to touch that maze purposely, click on the button, and it'll bring me back to the starting point. Okay, now obviously you want to do a couple things here, but I'm going to stop this recording in the next 30 seconds. A couple things you want to do. You want to add text to this button to the effect that you know, you want your user to try again, play again, whatever you want. Also, you would create another frame. You just hit F6, it advances you. But instead of you failed, okay, actually I'm going to undo that. Instead of you failed, delete that, or better yet, highlight that and say you win. Now, remember, this is in frame 3. So, when do you win? Well, you win when you reach their goal. And of course, the goal is going to be over here. So you can create another little goal box here, whatever color you want, and this has to be a button. So I would just do F8, call it you win, and say OK. And then what I need to do is put some action script on that, and I'll say on, I'd say rollover would be the best. Close the parentheses, open curly bracket, go to and play frame 3, and then semicolon, and then close curly bracket. Okay, and then the last thing I would do is put the stop script again on the frame 3, stop, open close parentheses, and semicolon. And I'm going to go ahead and play the movie. Looks good. I got to try to get there. There we go. You win. And then, of course, in the last frame here, you probably want to say go back, play again. Frame 2 would say retry or try again. So I'd say maybe play again and try again. Okay. That concludes the recording. I actually made it under the 15 minutes that they allow. Sorry it took so long, but this is, you know, because of my absence, I had to make a video for the third period class. Okay, guys, good luck, have fun, and I think you should do pretty well. Thank you.